Greetings, friends. Sleepy here, and welcome to another episode of the weekly playlist. Now, I do have to apologize that this is actually coming out on Sunday. Normally, I like to get these filmed and released on Fridays. However, I just have not had a whole lot of time to make any videos. I've been working the last several days, putting a lot of hours in, and I've just been really tired. I actually just got off work about an hour ago, and I wanted to finally get this video filmed and let you guys know what I've been playing this week, which I've actually only been playing two games, and they're for the regular Nintendo, so we'll get to those in just a moment. Definitely looking forward to this upcoming week because I only have to work 2 more days. I work tomorrow, work Tuesday, and then I'm going to be on vacation for 8 days. So I'll be starting my second vacation, so I'm really looking forward to that. Definitely have plans to play a lot of games. I want to go out and do some game hunting, spend time with the family, and just relax and not have to be at work because my job can get stressful at times, and it's always good to be able to get away. And I'm actually taking quite a few vacations this year. I've got a week I'm taking in July, a week in August, a week in September, a week in October, and a week in November. So I've got a lot of time I'm taking this year, and I'm going to devote a lot of time to playing more games, game hunting, and spending time with the family, and it's going to be great. Anytime I can get away from work and get paid for it, I'm always loving it. So we'll get started here, guys, with the two games I've been playing for the NES. I'm going to share my thoughts and opinions with you guys. If you haven't ever checked out this video series before, or maybe you're new to it, I go over each week the games I've been playing that week, and I share my thoughts and opinions on those games. And then I'd like to hear what your guys' thoughts and what your opinions are on the games I share with you guys. And of course, I'd like to hear what games you guys have been playing. Share that with me. And if you guys have any recommendations on games you think I should check out, please let me know. I already have a nice little list of games that you guys have recommended. I have it in my phone, and I keep it with me when I'm out game hunting. And if I find them cheap, I'll pick them up and check it out because I'm always looking for recommendations to try out games. I own quite a few games, and I've not played every game in my collection. And I definitely like to discover games that I've never played before. So if you guys got suggestions, please let me know. But we'll get started here. First game I've been playing this week is a classic for the regular Nintendo, and I've mentioned this in one of my previous week videos, is Kirby's Adventure. So I'm continuing my journey to beating this game again. I have beat it several times, but it's a really fun game. Highly recommend it. This is actually the second Kirby game that I ever played. The very first one I played was Kirby's Dream Land on the Game Boy, but I've always preferred Kirby's Adventure on the regular Nintendo just because it's a bigger adventure. There's more stages, more enemies, and this was the first game to actually introduce Kirby's signature ability where he could absorb enemies and he could copy their abilities. So that was something that was really cool and really amazing at the time, and it's still pretty cool today. So like you could suck up enemies that have fire powers, and then Kirby could shoot out flames. There was ice power. There's even a guy you can suck up that's a wheel, and then Kirby turns into a wheel and he can charge through the stage and knock enemies out. It's really awesome. There's also several other weapons and abilities that Kirby can equip and use. Like he can get swords. He can turn into a spike ability. It's just really fun, and I do like that there are several different worlds that you can go through, and then each world is broke up in different stages, and then there's many boss fights. There are some enemies, music, and bosses that came from Kirby's Dream Land that are in Kirby's Adventure as well. So if you played that one, you will notice some similar enemies. Like the first one is that tree boss. That's really easy. Overall, really fun game. If you've never played Kirby's Adventure, I highly recommend you get it for the regular Nintendo. It's a really cheap game. You can get it for like $5, maybe $10 at most. It usually sells around $6 to $8 here in my area. Highly recommend it. A very fun game. I'm about 3/4 of the way through it. I should have it beat here by the end of this week. Definitely looking forward to beating it again. Such a fantastic game. Highly recommend Kirby's Adventure. It's a really easy game too, so it's not very challenging or difficult. So maybe you have young kids or a spouse or something that's not really into games and wants to try to get into something, I would recommend the Kirby's series, all the different Kirby games, because they're fairly easy and they're great for new players, and veterans and stuff will have fun as well. Alright, sorry about that delay. The phone was going off. So as I mentioned, you're talking about Kirby's Adventure. Such a fantastic game. Now I'll share with you guys the game I've been putting the most time in this week. I already put like 15 hours this week, and that is Destiny of an Emperor 2 for the Nintendo Famicom, but this is a English translated copy that I bought off of eBay, and then I have my 60 to 72 pin connector so I can play Famicom games on my NES, which is really awesome. Now, normally, the only way to play this game, would be to download the ROM offline, because this never came out in the US. We got the first Destiny of an Emperor, which is a great game, but we never got number 2, and I've been playing it on my Dreamcast on a NES emulator disc, and that was really cool, but I always wanted to get an actual physical copy, and I was just going to get a Japanese copy and just have it in the collection, and I happened to see one on eBay for $45, which is kind of expensive, for an old game, but, you got to think you're paying for the person's time and stuff to convert it to English. It's not the easiest thing to do, and it's time consuming, so it was well worth the $45 for me, and the adapter I think was like $10 or something. But I'm having a blast with this game, and I can't wait to beat it, because I actually never did beat it. I got really far in that one on Dreamcast, then I stopped playing it for a while, and then when I got this one, I just started to start it, I had to start it all over, because I couldn't, transfer the save over from that emulator to this one. But I'm having a blast. I definitely recommend you guys check out this game, and the first one as well. If you're a fan of RPGs, I definitely recommend this game. It's set in ancient China. It's based off the Romance of the Three Kingdoms novels, which, if you played any of the Dynasty Warrior games, that is what they're based off. So, your Lu Bu, Liu Bei, Cao Cao, Sun Ce, Sun Quan. All of those guys are in this game, and this takes place right after the Battle of Dongzhuo, after he's defeated. You play as Liu Bei, and you're trying to restore the Han Dynasty, and your first enemy is Yuan Shao, and your main enemy throughout the whole game is Cao Cao, which is of Wei, and you are going through the story trying to reestablish the Han Dynasty from all the different enemy warlords and stuff that are in the game. So it's got an interesting story. It's all been translated into English, and there are just tons and tons of generals that you'll run into the game. You'll run into a lot of allies. There are several generals you can recruit in the game, which the one thing I do like about this game over the original one is that these generals, when you recruit them, they actually level up. In the first Destiny Emperor, only a few select, like 5 or 6 guys, actually leveled up. The other ones just stayed the same level and never got stronger. This one, you have less generals than the first one. The first one did have a lot more generals to recruit, but this one balances out by all your different generals can level up. And another thing that's really awesome is they all have unique weapons. Like, so some guys use axes, some guys use bow and arrows, some use spears, some guys use swords, and some use like little short swords. So there are different weapons to equip for different generals, and they all have different stats. So some are stronger in some areas than others, which is really great. You can have up to 7 playable characters in your party at a time, but only 5 will actually show up in battles. And the game does not have magic, but instead they have a thing called tactics, which is basically magic, and you have to assign a tactician, and the stronger the tactician is, the stronger your tactics and stuff will be. But they have things like fire attacks, water attacks, boulder attacks. They have healing magic. You have items that can, tactics that can strengthen your army, ones you can counter tactics from the enemy, because the enemy, has access to tactics as well, and they can use them against you, and it can be a pain, so it's nice to be able to counter their tactics as well. There's some where you can move the position of your troops from in the middle of the battlefield to the front or to the back, and that can affect how strong an attack that you do and how strong an attack you receive. So, really cool. You run around, like through the story as you're trying to restore the Han Dynasty, and you will meet several characters that you can recruit. Of course, some are better than others. There are random battles, which is pretty much standard in RPGs, and you do level up, so you do have XP, and after you get so much XP, go to the next level 2, 3, 4, and they do have up to level 99 that you can level your guys up, but you have to really grind, put a lot of time in that. I'm currently at level 42 right now, and my guys are fairly strong. You also have different weapons you can equip, and you can buy and get weapons from enemies that drop. Sometimes they occasionally will drop stuff. They usually drop pretty crappy stuff, so I usually just buy it when I get to new towns and stuff. But you can upgrade your equipment, so you have swords you can equip. You do have helmets that you can equip to make your guys stronger. They do have armor, and they also have shields. So you have 4 things you can equip, which will affect your stats. You also can eventually buy steeds, which are horses, and every officer that equips a steed gets an extra 10 points to their agility, which is great. And then there is, in the story, as Guan Yu, you actually get the red hair horse, which in the game he's called Chai Tea something like that. But once you equip that, you actually move faster. So I highly recommend once you get that horse, always equip it, because you'll move so much quicker through the game world once you have that horse equipped, and it's great to use for the rest of the game. Having a blast with it though. Probably now, I think I'm getting closer to 3/4 of the way. I'd have to double check. I have a guide that I keep checking online just in case I ever get lost, because the game, will tell you where to go when you ask questions stuff, but it's not always clear as what to do. And then there are some secrets and stuff to discover, which is really cool. So I definitely like having that to make sure I don't miss anything, because there are stuff you can miss, secret weapons you can unlock, characters and stuff like that. But it is a fun game. And then, as I was mentioning about those tactics, if you do get the game, I highly recommend that you print out a tactic sheet, because they are named things like Sea Fan. You're not going to know what that does. So I printed out a list, and the different levels, like level 1, water magic, boulder magic. This one lures enemies. And as you get powered up and leveled up, you'll start getting stronger tactics. And it'll show you how much your tactics cost is, because you have only so much tactic points you can use. And every time you rest in a tent or you rest at a castle or something, your stats will be reset and you'll refill your tactic points. So if you do want to play this game, there's 48 different tactics. I highly recommend printing out a list. It's real accessible, easily on Google. You can get it, print out the sheet like I did, and then use this when you're playing, because it doesn't just tell you, fire attack, it has a fancy name to it. So that's one thing I do want to recommend. If you do play the game, print out a list of the tactics. They also have that for the first game as well. But this is just fantastic RPG set in ancient China. If you're a fan of the Dynasty Warrior games and you want to play basically a Dynasty Warriors RPG, this is the game for you. Destiny of an Emperor 2. You can get these English translated carts on eBay. Recently, I only saw ones from China, so it's going to take a few days. It's going to take you a little bit to get it, but they're about like $15 or $20. But the easiest way to play it would be to just download the ROM online and play it on an emulator. But it is a fantastic game. I highly, highly recommend it. If you're a fan of RPGs and you like you like those Dynasty Warrior games, and you like the characters and stuff in the setting, highly recommend you get this game. So we'll do the quick recap like I always do. So I mentioned, Kirby's Adventure. It's a fun game. I'm currently working on completing this. I beat it many times. I just want to beat it again. I'm hoping to have this beat by the end of the week. It is a fantastic game. It was the first game to introduce Kirby's signature copy ability, where he could absorb enemies and then he could copy their powers and use that against other enemies. So very fun game. And then we talked about Destiny of an Emperor 2, which is a fantastic RPG. Tons of characters. It's a very long game. I've already put in at least 45 hours and I still haven't beat it. And I'm discovering everything in it. It's a very, very fun game. Highly recommend Destiny Emperor 2. And you can also get the first one in America. Now, if you want to play the second one, you have to either get a English translated Famicom version, or you could just download the ROM online. But highly recommend that. Very fun title. So those are the 2 games I have been focusing on. This week I'm probably going to put in more time into those games. Not sure what other games I'll get into, but with me being on vacation, I'm going to have a lot more time to play games, and I have been having a blast this year. I've been playing a lot more games since January this year than I have the last couple years combined, just since January. So these last 6 months I've put a lot of hours into gaming, and it has been fun, and it's helping me relax because my job can get stressful at times. So if you guys have played either of these games, let me know what you guys' thoughts on them. I like them. I think they're great. I think you guys should try them out. If you guys have any games you think I should try out, please let me know. I always like hearing from you guys and always looking for new games and new experiences to try out. And if you guys have been playing any games this week, please share it with me. I like to hear from you guys. I want to thank you for watching. Take care. You guys have an amazing day. Oh, and I also want to say it's Sunday, so it's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the gaming dads out there. Hope you guys are having a great day. Have a wonderful day and take care.